Alright, so we're here at Monkey Town, and this is another little workshop I've got. I've got a lot of wood that's been lying around for a couple of years, and it's got a bit of water damage and everything. I don't want to throw the wood away because it is quite expensive, the shutter board. So I do want to make use of it. It's not rotten or anything. This board has been sanded, but you can see there's quite a lot of damage here with the water staining and everything. So I've got a plan for this enclosure. It's going to make 1.2 meter by 600 by 600 high, and we're going to see what we can come up with these pieces of wood. So you can see here it's also had a nice edging which is all starting to fall off. So what I'm going to actually do is just strip all of this off and make the edging look quite nice. So we're going to go for quite a rustic looking cage, but it's going to be waterproof in the end and look really cool. And then just to show you what the wood did look like, here's a piece. So you can see it's pretty dirty. You just go with a sanding belt and then we can get it fairly clean. You can see some of the wood grain. So I've been wanting to do a little funny project like this for a while, so we've got a bit of time now. So we're gonna see how it comes along. So we're gonna just burn this wood a bit to get the grain to actually pop out quite nicely. I've done a test with it previously, so it's just quite difficult not to leave dark patches, but we're gonna give it a shot. I'd quite like the look it gives off, so see how it goes. Some wood is a bit softer than others. So it burns quicker and you can get that wood grain popping out quite nicely. See, every now and again it catches on fire as we sit a bit long. Okay, so there you can see what kind of look it's going for, and then we just have to do that to all the panels, which are going to be visual. Obviously the floor ones I'm not going to bother because you're never going to see it. So we finished scorching the wood, and we actually had a template of a Tyrannosaurus footprint, so decided just to add that there for a bit of fun. And what I want to do now with the one enclosure is I actually want to stain it. So we're going to have it black, and I've got green dye, and then the other one we might just leave the raw color. So I'm just going to go through and spray all of these and see how it comes out. I would have liked a darker green, but I just had this color lying around. So I can also paint it on, but I was just thinking I'm just going to spray it on with the green. Not that the spray bottle is doing very well. There we go, it's coming out a bit better now. So maybe I'll go over it once or twice to get it nice and dark. So obviously because everything else is black, that's just going to go look darker. And then all the pale areas are going to go nice and green. Okay, so I might switch to a paintbrush because this is a bit tedious. It's going to be a bit of a workout on the forearms. But let's just get the one done just so we can get a sort of idea of what it looks like. Yeah, it's not the best spray bottle. Okay. Oh, but that's giving quite a nice idea. And then obviously once we put our last coating on here, that's going to make everything just pop big time. Okay. Okay, so we're just going to go through, spray all of these, paint it in, let it dry in the sun, and then we can go with our last application. I think that's looking quite cool. Quite nice for a rustic sort of cage. I'll see the final product, we'll see what we have. I think it's going to look pretty awesome. And it's going to be a cage that's going to last forever. I mean, this wood was sitting in water, it doesn't swell at all, which is great, unlike chipboard and stuff like that. So with it having a waterproof coating in the end, that's definitely going to last. I've got a cage that's made out of the same wood. It's probably like 18 years old. And for the first 5 years it didn't even have a varnish coating, and it's still going today, and it's still going to go for another good couple of years for sure. Alright, cool, so we're just going to get the rest done and then we can start assembly on these. Okay, so we've got our pool coat resin over here. Looks like the stuff from Ghostbusters. Whenever I look at it I think of the old Ghostbusters. Okay, so it comes in two parts. Here we've got the catalyst. And I'm missing something which is nice to thin it down, which is styrene. It makes it much thinner so that we get a much smoother finish. So this is going to be pretty difficult. It's going to be like painting with syrup at the moment. Then obviously got a little stirring stick, got to mix it very, very well. Now the other problem I have is I don't have any way to measure the amount I'm supposed to add. It's about 2%, depends on the weather. It's quite warm today. So around 1 to 2% mix will be fine. So we just got about 2 kilos of stuff in here, and then we're going to start painting some of these boards. Okay, so I've worked with it quite a lot, but it is always best to have your proper measurements because I have had horrible mistakes with it as well. Let's just hope we don't have issues this time around. Okay. I think that's actually quite enough. So then we just want to mix this in really well and scrape the sides. Yeah, so the styrene would have been good. It makes it a lot thinner, more fluid. And then the other thing that we're doing, which I don't normally do, normally I assemble the cage first and then I paint it. Okay, which is obviously going to seal all the joints and everything like that. But in this little test, what I want to do is obviously I want to use gravity, which is going to make it a lot more level. So with each board lying horizontal, the gravity is going to make the liquid go nice and smooth, which is a lot easier. The only problem is wherever there's a lip or something on the top or the floor, I've got to either get it extremely level or maybe try paint without actually painting those areas. So this is all just a little bit of a test. We'll see what we end up in the end, but I'm sure it's going to be cool. And you might not be able to see on camera, but it does start to change color, and that's when you know it's reacting nicely. Okay, so this stuff, sometimes depending on the mix, it doesn't give you very much time, so we're going to try and work nice and quickly with it. Okay. Yeah, okay, so the colors change. It's not as bright pink, it goes more of a yellowy brown color. Yeah, and with, as I say, with it being very hot today, it's going to react a lot faster than on a cold day. Okay. Right, so this is our first board we're going to paint over. And this is the back board, so we're going to just paint all over it. So what I like to do sometimes is just glob it on nice and thick. You can see how it just brings out the color as soon as it goes on. It's kind of as if you were varnishing or whatever. Okay, so we're going to paint with the grain. It's always best, but it doesn't matter too much with this stuff. Okay, and I don't want to go over the edges too much because it's going to cause big runs, but it's fine, we can just sand those off later. Now this stuff I actually don't always paint with the grain. I'll show you a nice technique with it now. But at least this is a fairly fresh batch. It's not too thick because it does get thicker as it gets older. So this is at least not too bad, but it is still pretty thick. Okay. So this is just going to make it 100% waterproof. As long as it doesn't get any cracks, it should last forever. A lot of my cages are holding water like this, but obviously if you want to do the base of a cage, it would be best to fiberglass it first with fiberglass material and then the resin. Okay, so I just want to sort of get a sort of even spread quickly. Okay, and then what I like to do is just brush it like a U, like this. It's nice and gentle. I see I've got bits of grass in here now, which sucks because that's going to delay things as well. But it's also, this is the backboard, so we really want this to pop nicely. I've got some kind of critter in my pants, which is not cool. Obviously you don't want to work with nice clothes or new shoes or anything, because if you strip this stuff on your clothes, it's never going to be the same. But there's definitely something crawling in these pants, which is not cool. Alright. Okay, so we're going to go through and do the rest of them. Just like that. And see how we go along. Okay, so I just want to show you guys what the sort of change the pool coat gives. Okay. It really makes it pop quite nicely. And the cool thing with doing this is, I mean, we could add literally anything, like even glitter or something. Don't know if that'll look cool in a cage, but maybe the ladies would like a little bit of glitter, a little bling. So yeah, it's just nice to play around with things like this. You come up with new looks for enclosures and everything. And I mean, obviously totally customizable. And I say it's going on quite nicely. It's got a bit much on this load here. This is just the backboard, it doesn't need a whole lot. Okay. Yeah, so we just obviously want to try and spread it out again. Actually want to try and save as much as I can, because I've still got quite a few pieces to go. The first batch I did worked out perfectly. So we've got about the same, so I want to make sure it lasts. Okay, so I mean, going up and down just with the grain will get you a nice fairly smooth look, but you've got to stop close to the edges and you get a funny look. So I don't know, I quite like to go with the doing it like this. Oh, it's so cool because I scorched the wood really hard here, so you can actually see the wood like cracking. Darnell, can you zoom in on that just to show what it looks like? Hopefully it comes up. It's very bright out here today, so it might not show up too well. Okay, yeah, it just makes such a difference once it's got a clear coat on it. It's like with spraying a car or anything, it just pops. Alright, awesome, so we're just going to finish this up, let it dry, and then we can start assembling. Cool. Right, so the pool coating's finished, it's all cured, so at least we got the mix spot on. I have made a mistake where I got the mix totally wrong and I messed up two massive units of 8 cages. So it's pretty horrible. I've been waiting about a year and I'm gonna fix that one later. So it always is important to make sure you get the mix just right. So I just want to show you guys how good the waterproofing is. It's been about an hour and 15 minutes or so since we painted, and it's not tacky or anything. It's totally dry. Obviously with the sun baking on it and being dark color, it dries nice and quickly. Heat helps a lot. So let's just have a look at how nice water runs off of this stuff. I mean, it's like plastic. So there's a wax coating that comes to the surface. So there's absolutely no way that water can penetrate it. Yeah, it's really, really good stuff. Alright, so we finished assembling this cage. Now obviously the edging and that I'm still going to sort out, but I think it's looking really cool. Okay, so I went with quite a deep lip over here, but that's because I want to maybe have a bioactive substrate in this enclosure. Otherwise I could always flip it around if I wanted a shadow and then something to hide the lights or the heating. But I'd rather go with, because I've waterproofed it, I'd rather go with a nice bioactive substrate. So now it's just to finish up the edging and everything. As you can see, we haven't stained certain sides of the boards, but it is coming all nicely together. I don't think I'm going to pool coat the outside. I might go with another type of resin or gloss coating. So we're just going to sort out this cage. We're going to make it look more rustic. I'm going to round the edges, get all the edging stripped off, because I actually want to show the layers of the board and get something looking pretty cool here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to round off the edges and try and give it more of a sort of rustic look, not so square and set. And also want to show off the layers of the board. I think it's going to finish it off quite nicely. So I've just got a belt sander and we're just going to go ahead and see what we can get out of it. Okay, so all of this we're going to actually want to strip off. So you can see here the layers. I mean, obviously we're gonna stain it again. We might even have to blowtorch a little bit where we go over it, but I think in the end it's gonna look really cool. Get a nice rippled sort of effect throughout the whole cage. So we're just gonna have to get all of that done. Then it's just a matter of putting on rails, vents, fitting the glass and the heating and everything. And then we're gonna go with silicone and seal all the grooves so that it will hold water. So just marine silicone, and the rest of it's obviously pool coated, so it's going to hold water just fine. So here's the finished product. I'm really happy with how they came out. They look really, really cool. I must say quite nice for, you know, scrap wood that was lying around looking a bit tatty. But I'll definitely make more cages that have this sort of burnt finish. I really like it. We recently just put on vents, so we've got ventilation high up over here and then low down inside over there, so that you cause a natural flow of air throughout the cage. And then obviously with the big lip that we got in front, I think as I mentioned before, this is to hold all the substrate, and you go bioactive, you need like at least 15 centimeters, and normally goes to about 20 centimeters. Because then it's nice for planting as well. All nice and waterproof inside. And we sealed all the edging with marine silicone, so it's nice and watertight. Okay, and then here's the green dinosaur footprint one. Came out really nice as well. What we did is we showed how we make all the rippling effect here to give it more of a rustic look. It came out quite nice, quite like that. We just obviously need to clean it up a little bit. There's a little bit of Flex and stuff here, which is like silicone, it's just much harder. It goes like as hard as rubber, so it just needs a little bit of cleaning up. But these cages are going to look really awesome once we put lights and decorate them and everything, kind of like this enclosure with our Malaysian king. So makes for a really nice showpiece with all the bioactive substrate, and it's going to last forever. Okay, so yeah, this one we didn't do the sort of rippled effect, but the edging, as you can see here, was peeled off, so we just burnt it, and it kind of just matches in. So very happy with how it came out all in all. You see, so here's the Flex, we just got to rub off. It comes off nice and easily, and then it'll be left looking really good. So we can't get glass at the moment, but I mean, you guys can just imagine there's 2 panes of glass there, you know, see-through is quite easy. All right, but yeah, really stoked with how it came out. Put wheels on this one, and then that one will maybe go on top of this one, depending where we're going to put it. But we'll see. Otherwise we can always pop wheels on this one too. But yeah, it makes for a nice stackable unit. Alright guys, so that pretty much concludes the video on these made up cages. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you can learn a little something from it, give you some ideas for your next cage build. And yeah, if you liked this video, please give it a like and subscribe. We'll have a lot more content coming out.